Hello, everybody. This is Cool Frog with the Pickerel. Today, FEMA camps. Conspiracy theory or the truth? We'll start with a little Wikipedia thing here. It says, the FEMA camps conspiracy theory is a belief, particularly within the American Patriot movement, that the United States Federal Emergency Management Agency is planning to imprison U.S. citizens in concentration camps following the imposition of martial law in the United States after a major disaster or crisis. In some versions of the theory, only suspected dissidents will be imprisoned. In more extreme versions, large numbers of U.S. citizens will be imprisoned for the purpose of extermination as the New World Order is established. The theory has existed since the late 1970s, but its circulation has increased with an advent of the internet and social media platforms. The existence of FEMA concentration camps has been debunked, although the U.S. government previously interned U.S. citizens in concentration camps during World War II and developed but did not implement contingency plans for mass internment of U.S. citizens in the 1980s. That being said, I find it very interesting that the way things are going, how we might actually be not a conspiracy theory. Let's see. Let's check this out, huh? Jen Psaki I really don't care to actually listen to her, so we're going to pass by her and we're just going to read the article. It says FEMA would operate up to 100 federally run mass vaccination sites under Biden plan. A draft document envisions different models for sites, with the largest capable of handling 6,000 doses a day. Very interesting, huh? Up to 100 sites run by the Federal Emergency Management Agency would begin offering coronavirus vaccine within the next month, part of a strategy that would dramatically expand the federal government's role in the effort to corral the pandemic. The plan, which was announced by President Biden in the first day in office, is already taking shape in the form of a draft concept of operations, which is obtained by the Washington Post. The document envisions FEMA, which previously had more than a piecemeal role in pandemic response, fully unleashed. Its mission will be to provide federal support to existing and new community vaccination centers and mobile clinic across the country. Doesn't sound like so much of a conspiracy theory anymore now, does it? Enlisting FEMA, the agency of the Department of Homeland Security, is among the clearest signals that Biden intends to involve the federal government more directly in the administration of vaccines instead of leaving the final step of the massive effort to state and local authorities. FEMA will mobilize thousands of clinical and non-clinical staff and contractors who work hand in glove with the National Guard and state and local teams to assist, augment, and expedite the distribution and administration of certain vaccines. Really? You're just going to go and put non-clinical staff and contractors in place to actually take care of that? That doesn't sound safe. As a matter of fact, didn't we just read something the other day that came out of somebody actually injecting a child with something, and she got arrested for doing so? If requested by states and other jurisdictions, the draft notes the U.S. government would develop, equip, provide information management, and staff and operate that site. Shots administered at these sites are expected to draw on a vaccine supply made available to individual states and territories and some large cities rather than relying on new federal allocation stream. A lack of abundant vaccine supply will remain the most pressing problem, probably through March. The Trump administration, which oversaw the rapid progress of developing a half a dozen vaccine candidates, faced criticism in its closing days for not planning sufficiently for ground-level hurdles of immunization, from workforce shortages to aging computer systems. Many states have already set up mass vaccination clinics, but officials say assistance will be needed to make sure the greatest number of people possible are vaccinated. So they're going to enlist people that aren't actually qualified to actually come in and move us around to these camps so that they can actually do what they need to do. Others took issue with the Biden administration efforts and a sign that greater federal coordination is already becoming politically charged. Governor DeSantis, a close Trump ally, ridiculed the plan this week, referring it to anticipated centers of FEMA camps. Go figure. I can tell you that it's not necessary in Florida. It's not necessary in any state across the United States. Stop trying to press something that's not necessary. But the plan was welcomed by FEMA officials throughout the country who spoke on the condition of anonymity because they had not been authorized to address the efforts. One official said he was moved to tears by the new sense of purpose. It's amazing that we can do what we can do when we take the gloves off. Recounted a regional planning call in which emergency managers were discussing how to get additional information from states about the gaps in the existing infrastructure. Biden administration officials have begun calling state leaders to consult with about how federal assistance could augment the capacity, according to people familiar with the calls. The draft outlines 4 possible sizes for federally administered sites. The largest, called the mega model, would be able to administer 6,000 doses a day, but require a space of at least as large as 15,000 square feet. The smallest would extend across just 2,500 square feet and be able to handle 250 doses a day. At the same time, the planning document sketches out hurdles of immediate involvement by FEMA personnel in some aspect of immunization, especially administration of shots. Because of licensing requirements, Biden's strategy encourages states to bolster their workforce, including by expanding scope of practice laws and waiving licensing requirements as appropriate. It also aims to allow state and local governments to receive greater reimbursement for vaccine administration expenses through FEMA Disaster Relief Fund. The draft FEMA initiative notes that federal managers will need to review local regulations when determining clinic staffing and assignment of roles and responsibilities. Depending on the situation, the authorization from the State Commissioner of Health, non-medical personnel may be utilized for positions normally requiring a medical license and certificate, the draft states. So like I said, they're going to just go and take random non-medical personnel, activate them, and tell them that they're okay to actually go and inoculate it's very, very upsetting. For them to go and just inoculate anybody that they want and use anybody to do so does not sound very safe, because if you don't know what you're doing, you don't know how to actually take care of the product or the person, you could really injure somebody by just doing whatever you want. FEMA had a leading role in the Trump administration's early effort to locate and deliver medical equipment to the front line of the pandemic. An initiative known as Project Airbridge, that effort was phased out last summer. However, the agency's role in the pandemic response became highly uneven, especially as the Trump administration insisted on delegating responsibility to the states. It is up to the states. It shouldn't be up to the federal government to do anything. It should be up to each individual state to take care of their population and make sure that their population is healthy. Being scared that the unjabbed are actually going to hurt the jabbed seems a little strange. If you got your jab, you should be fine. You shouldn't have to worry about the people that didn't get it. This really sounds really kind of strange and odd all at the same time, that they would actually think that this is okay to actually go ahead and do. But it continues. It says Biden's COVID supply coordinator, Tim Manning, is a former FEMA official. The president's pick to lead the agency, Deanne Criswell, New York City's emergency management commissioner, she would be the first woman to lead the agency. I mean, virtue signaling is basically what they're just doing there. It's like, why would you need to go to the point of actually pointing something as being the first woman to lead an agency as something that's needed or necessary to point out? I mean, it's fine that it's a woman. It doesn't have to be a man. Nothing ever has to be. Obviously, women are just as able to do things as men are. But to point out the fact that she may be the first one, it's just virtue signaling to the masses that, oh, hey, look, we're progressive. Some unnecessary stuff that they're actually pushing there. So then, there's one more thing that I caught is this. So then it says Washington State Legislature procedures for isolation and quarantine. 1. At his or her sole discretion, a local health officer may issue an emergency detention order causing a person or group of persons to be immediately detained for purposes of isolation or quarantine in accordance with the subsection 3 of this section, or may petition the Superior Court ex parte for an order to take the person or group or persons into involuntary detention for purposes of isolation or quarantine in accordance to subsection 4 of the section, provided that he or she. So after reading that and everything else that we read, are the FEMA conspiracy theory camps actually conspiracy theory, or are they the truth? If you like what you heard and you want to help me out, you see the link at the top of the page. That's buymeacoffee.com/coolfrog. Down below, you see there's links that you can actually go and you can follow me at anywhere that you would like. I do have a link tree as well. You can hit that and help me in any way that you possibly think that you be interested in doing so. There's lots of different ways of following me. Thank you. Later.